Think everything should be good to go. Episode 12, Legends Podcast. Palm, go ahead, take the floor.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Dragon Ball Legends Podcast, episode 12 on 5-9 Gaming, Fusion Reborn, I guess. So, first off, as always, make sure to stay up to date with us and type the command !Linktree in the chat in order to find all our social media, which is TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, and obviously YouTube and Twitch. And before we go with the topics and the guests today, I would like to say that we have a tweet up, which is a form where you can submit your fan-made Zenkai units for GT. So you asked for it, we delivered. We're going to do it similar to Dokkan. So you can submit your personal favorite Zenkai for GT, and we will pick a couple of them, discuss them in a video, and give you credit for them, of course. Today, we are joined by Bradical.
What up?
And we have Hydros here.
What's going on?
We're joined by Nazdarachi. We have the Prof.
Hello.
And Super Saiyan 3 Ryuden.
What's going on, guys?
So today's topics will be mainly Zenkai Gogeta, of course. So we're going to talk about the unit, what are his best teams, what equips should we maybe use on him. We're going to talk about his booster missions and whether we think they are worth it for us or maybe for a free-to-play player. We would obviously talk about Extreme Zenkai Frieza. Same for him. What are his teams? What are his equips? And we got a new Gogeta event. And if we have some time, we'll talk about the new PvP equip and then go into questions. And with that, I'm going to give it over to Prof. I think you did some testing on your stream yesterday about Extreme Gogeta, and you had some pretty spicy opinions. So lay it out for us.
Yeah. So before I drop this, keep in mind on my actual list, it's because of his team. I still think Sparking Gogeta's better overall. But I know a lot of you are going to want to throw hands with me in a second. On the Fusion Warriors team, I still prefer EX Gogeta. I think that's due to his ally support damage and his team heal. And if you pair them up side by side and you're not counting Bardock in the equation, he's still throwing hands really hard, right? So I think that the Zenkai Gogeta is very good, but he doesn't have anything that I haven't already seen before. He doesn't have like the UI double vanish. His green card's kind of cool, but I've been suckered by it one time, and honestly, the best situation I've seen people use it in is kind of like a Namek Goku situation where they kind of drop him in and quickly pop the green card to catch you off guard. Like, my opponents aren't really getting me. You just have to respect the Gogeta. You don't use tap attacks, you don't use strike arts and stuff when you know he's able to be swapped in, and suddenly his 50% damage increase off his green card is no longer in the equation. And you look at his raw damage, it's not all there. And I think at the end of the road, since he brings no utility to the rest of the team, I feel like this unit is going to be relegated to the bench sooner than later. That being said, in the current state of the game, Bardock and Gogeta is going to be a very relevant combo for the next few months.
I don't know. I think I'm going to have to disagree slightly on that one. I mean, you mentioned just don't tap attack, but the fact that a unit's kit is able to give you or to force you to play differently should be a point in the unit's favor. I think he's very, very good. Wow, I really lost my train of thought where I was going with this, but I mean, just to backpedal off what Prof said, he seems relatively simplistic in that he's just a hard hitter, but I mean, his green card's really good. He's also immune to like all these debuffs, just like Vegeta Blue. So all those pesky Hercule teams that you see, at least you don't have to worry about that with Gogeta. So in my opinion, he's a top 4 Zenkai. He's really, really good. Yeah, that's really good too. But I mean, I feel like his green card is just amazing in the way that it forces you to play a little bit different, even if it's a small window. I feel like people are just so conditioned to blast and then, cancel out their blast card and then go for a tap attack to stop your opponent right when they vanish. But I mean, if your opponent is to bring out the green card, then it's another way of getting priority. I think a lot of points should go in Gogeta's favor for that. And then it takes away all your buffs too. That's pretty strong.
Well, I think the only thing that it's just offense on fusions. And that's kind of where I can see where Prof is coming from, ES Gogeta being on like that kind of level. having those buffs because like you need that team heal and stuff, like some kind of support. I think when we see some like crazy fusion support, that team's going to take back over because they have plenty of offense, no doubt. But like their Kefla, Gogeta, Vegito Blue, all they do is hit you, and that's their main thing. Same thing with Super Saiyans too, where Gogeta's other team, where it's like, yeah, they can do a butt ton of damage. If you're not getting crits, Gogeta may as well just be another Super Saiyan. Honestly,
real quick on that green card though. There's something I think that we're not valuing because we're used to it, if you would. One, it's no mystery to anybody who watches my channel that I like Perfect Vanish. I know you guys don't, but one of the ways to set up Perfect Vanish is with Time Stop. And currently, this Gogeta sacrifices his Time Stop in order on his green card. The vanilla green cards where you just gain a buff, to anybody that doesn't understand what I'm talking about, stops a moment in time in the game. Lets you scout out your opponent, and you can even queue an attack or something in that moment. And that's how you set up a Perfect Vanish. EX Gogeta has access to his time-stopping green. Not only that time-stopping green gives him a second Vanish to do the PV, which suckers people all the freaking time. The value for that green card cannot be understated. Whereas most of my Fusion friends that are playing it are finding themselves sitting on their Gogeta's green card and burning it on Kefla or Vegeta Blue. I do think it's a threat. I do think it's something that you have to consider, and pretty much any S unit has something in their kit that you can't ignore. And I usually like to use the word, you have to respect the unit, and you have to respect Gogeta's green card. I think he's losing too much. I think the real trade-off between EX Gogeta and Red Gogeta is going to be your Vanish control, 100%. And that's... I think that I've had my butt handed to me numerous times by EX Gogeta. I've been laughing at this Zenkai Gogeta. Like, they'll use the green card and my blast card is already en route, and then boom, they're done. It's it. You know, I expect them to go for the green card, and I've been punishing them constantly for this. EX Gogeta, I've never been able to do that. My hardest fight with that is trying to get through his overshield, and even if I get through his overshield, he gets a permanent slew of buffs right after that. So I
think the overall thought you're going for is no doubt that the green card is fantastic. It's got to be in the hands of a really, really well played player, and against somebody who's gonna fall for it, for lack of a better term, because like you can get someone hardcore, and that's a hard punish too in this kind of meta. So yes, it's a fantastic green card, one of the best in the game. It's just, I'm glad they limited only the strike. If it was blast as well, like we'd be screwed. But
I was really hoping that when they did this unit, that they were going to give him strike cover change and let it lead into that green card.
I kind of agree with you too. I'm actually in the same kind of thought process.
He would easily be Z.
But at the same time, I don't want to see another strike cover on fusions, like, or any kind of cover in general, fusions, future, whatever it may be. I don't like the cover changes because it stops the gameplay. So part of me is glad they did it, and part of me is glad they didn't do it, you know, because like I have a good time with sending some units in, but then sometimes it just knocks the gameplay for me, and I just don't have a good time with that. So I'm back and forth on it. No doubt it's a good green card, though. I can't fight it.
One more note I would like to throw in, with any fighting game, whenever there's a discussion to be had over who's best, the game is in a healthy spot. And so I like that we're able to, there's no clear-cut answer, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of people in the community would think
definitely
otherwise.
Getting better. These kind of Zenkais, absolutely, where they're on par, but they're just not overwhelmingly dominant. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, you know, using the green card on Kefla, I don't think that's a burn. It's just that, yeah, the green card of Gogeta for me is like UI Goku. It's like, you can make it work really, really well if you know how to use it, you know when your opponent's going to strike or tap punch you, but you can also just fail miserably and be really bad with that unit. But what you just said, Brad, I think that it's actually crucial to the game that we have those mechanics that disrupt combos, because I mean Gohan is around, right? And have you seen
I can
Gohan
agree with you too. And the way they
team?
changed cover change too, I agree with you 100%. You can keep going. I just want to jump into the
No,
point.
it's just, you know, if you play against Prof's Gohan with his equips, like hell no, I wouldn't survive without a cover change unit.
That's pretty true. I mean, there's definitely an argument for that as well. There's definitely an argument for that too. I don't like the stop and go. I haven't liked the stop and go gameplay for the last 6 months though. Like that's been a consistent thing that I haven't enjoyed. Those units that just flat out stop the game. And it's like, yeah, I get the point of it, but I guess it's more strike than it is blast for me, because blast a lot harder to pull off, and strike just seems very simplistic, especially with Kefla running around. Like you said, Gohan. Like, I get it. I do. But Gohan, to me, is the only exception that's just going to nuke me no matter what. Like, even if I hit him on that strike thing, if he gets into anything, I'm done at that point. Like, my unit's gone. So he's the exception to the rule when it comes to everything for me. So we can jump in and cover about him. Yeah, there's not much to really say. He does essentially what he did. He's crazy on his combos. Like, if you can move 4 strike cards in a row, you're hitting like a dump truck. Like, he's absurd with his damage output. I don't know. I mean, there's not much to really talk about with the actual character. You guys like using PyCon with him?
Oh, yeah. Best unit in the game, okay?
So well, yeah, but that's every unit today. Like, every other unit is getting like 40 to 70% of just base damage for entering the field. Most of the times it's non-stackable, non-cancelable. My thing with this Gogeta, and like what I was saying, is that there's not, frankly, much to discuss about his kit. There will be, as Paul mentioned, there will be a high skill cap on utilizing his green card. And he most definitely belongs on the fusion, not fusion. Well, yeah, you can run on fusions, but he most definitely belongs on the Super Saiyan team right now. But yeah, he got a ghetto version of Gohan's ability. Yeah, listen, I put him on Fs on my own personal tier list. We haven't finished that yet, so I do respect the units. I think that in terms of from his base kit to his Zenkai, what you've gained here is a little bit of damage reduction, a last standing buff, if I'm not mistaken, and the ability to ignore some downgrades, not downgrades, paralysis and poison, not specifically stat downgrades. Honestly, I think the long-term value of this Gogeta is going to be his tradable blue card and his optimal bench for the Fusion Warriors. I think that he doesn't have like a lock or anything like that to keep your opponent on the field. Like, Boo's lock right now is one of the most terrifying things in the meta, because the double cover change is just out at this point. But you got like UI Goku and his ability to just straight up cover change into strike or blast card. Huge value there. His double vanish, his green card to be able to start priority. The closest thing this Gogeta has is a very situational green card that I dare say that 99% of the community is not going to be able to utilize, and the 1% that will be able to utilize it, it's such a thin margin of plays that it can fall into that it's just not as good as it sounds on paper. And I think we're gonna, when the Bojack first came out and people didn't understand how to drop combo, and the community as a whole has adapted since then, right? I think we're experiencing that with this Gogeta, and once people are used to seeing him, they'll be used to countering him, and then it's just going to become a thing of the past.
Yeah, the thing about Super Saiyans is that his damage is still not as consistent, just because you're still relying on RNG for the crits. Sure, you get them most of the times, but you don't get them all of the times. Right? And on fusions, you have what you're getting, and at one point, you have those late game buffs built up, and I think that's also pretty good.
Yeah, just to summarize, I think he's a fantastic unit. I think that if you're a fan of Gogeta, like, you saw that moment right there. If that opponent wasn't dancing and he hit that green card, he could have punished and killed him. I've had Gogetas just stand in front of me, and I popped main ability and executed them for it. He's just a powerhouse, a beat stick, if you would. There's nothing else to say for the unit.
Yeah, I totally agree with that 100%. When I used him, I have a good time using him, but I think for Super Saiyans and for Fusions, we need some kind of further support that can really utilize that kind of power, because he has ridiculous power. He hits a damn truck. It's not even... it's absurd, but it's only on certain circumstances. Like you on Super Saiyans, and like you need those crits, like Palm said. On fusions, you know what you're getting, but like I said, the main units are all they're straight powerhouses. That's it. And like, yeah, that's cool. You have blast swapping with Vegito Blue and stuff. That's great. But it's still, I don't know. It's a weird spot because he's so damn good. But I just can't put him that high of a tier right now. So
something else I would like to point out. His kit can also be accentuated in the future. If a new fusion warrior comes out that buffs the fusion warriors like Vados does, right? Let's just say a Vados where the fusions comes out that gives you that much control to where you don't have to have control. Because Gohan works because his surrounding team has just an overwhelming amount of utility. The unit itself has none. He's like Gogeta. It's just he's on a whole different, plateau of power. So if another unit comes out for the fusions that's, a Bardock level of buff, but with some actual utility for cover, then I'd say we could revisit this unit and then immediately start giving him even more points for just the setup that you can achieve with him. But I think a lot of units today, you swap into the field and that setup's done. You don't need to land the green card to make it shine.
I don't know. I feel like we're talking about how he's just a powerhouse, but I mean that's what is defining a top tier unit right now. Every unit on the highest of the tier list right now is just a dude that hits really hard. That's the point. But I don't know. I don't think we should discredit the unit because his green card feels situational. I mean, would that mean we should discredit Namagoku's green card and stuff like that too? And considering Gogeta is able to constantly take away buffs too with that green card, and it works on tackles, strikes, and locks out blast cards, I feel like he deserves more credit. I think he's fantastic. Plus, he helps with a lot of different tags. Like Saiyans needed a new red, so did Fusion. So, I mean, if you main any of those, then there's no reason not to get the guy.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think any of us are saying don't get him. He's absolutely worth the Chrono Cross. He's 100% worth the Zenkai. Not even a doubt. I think more for me, it comes down to his teams. I don't think movies is quite where it needs to be for him to be utilized all the way. Like, Zenkai Broly is good, no doubt. And he actually works well in Super Saiyans too. But it's just not that level of the support that he needs, at least in my opinion. I get what you're saying, though. But you look at, like, Namagoku, he's got Gohan. You look at Super Saiyan 3, he's got Gohan. That's why those guys are top tier. 18's the exception where she just is ridiculous on a team that's was subpar and then overnight went crazy, right? I don't know. I get what you're saying, though, 100%. He's worth your Zenkai, definitely. And he's going to come in handy in the future, too.
Before you guys Zenkai him, let's see the New Year's first.
Well, I agree with that, too. You may want to look into that as well, but...
Well, but the thing is that what Prof says has a lot of merit. It's just that the banner is there for such a long time. I didn't look exactly, but I mean, Super Saiyan Blue Goku came out before, and I think his banner is still there until January. So Gogeta's banner must be there till like the middle of the month. So you still have a lot of time to actually have a look at what's coming and where you want to spend your crystals. Because yeah, it's fair to also, and that's one thing that we also got in the feedback is that we should also look a little bit more on the, let's say, free to play or more casual players' perspective. And I guess that's an important consideration to make, just, where to spend your stuff.
Well, they're giving out an exceptionally large amount of crystals this month. So for free-to-play players, if you've been budgeting properly, between now to New Year's is when you're ideally going to be using them, right? Unless you just absolutely hate whatever content they come out with. On a personal level, it's about time to start spending. So get ready for it if you are, any type of player that's going to be affected by these units in a way where they're going to benefit your account.
So one thing I'm curious about is also what kind of equips are you using with the Zenkai Gogeta?
Pretty much. Let's see. So all this, I have my game open to them right now. The two Pycon equips are both really solid. One thing is both attacks. One thing is both, not both defense. Maybe it does get both defenses. Well, the one I have is strike defense, and strike defense, but you can get strike attack on it. So that's a solid one. I mean, he's standard Saiyan equips is what I've been really using. That new Z plus equip we got for free, that's a solid one. Strike defense plus both attacks at 13%. It's not too bad. I mean, I kind of rotate in and out of equips, so I don't have like a set of ones I use on units. If I'm running with Bardock, I want more crit based. If I'm running on fusions, I want more defense based. Kind of depends. What about you guys?
There's a couple of awakened red equips that I've thrown onto him. I got some really good rolls on those ones that I've been using. There's the awakened I'll turn you to scrap, and then there's another awakened red equip. I think it's with the Super Saiyan Goku just looking into the camera. Those two are really good for him.
So if you're running him onto the movie saga team specifically, or with other Gogetas, there is awakened hold on to my shoulder, and that is pure strike attack, up to 6% per Saga's battle member. That is extremely valuable. I believe he also has the awakened Hara, whatever it is, with Vegeta, and that's 18% to both defenses with 20% strike attack. And then Ryuden already mentioned another one I am a huge fan of for this Gogeta is that'll turn you both into scrap, and that's the one he's talking about with Goku just looking straight at the camera. Some unawakened items that'd be easy for you guys to farm if you're just trying to get a hold of some gear quickly. I say air quotes. You can get an S on this right now for this is Kaioken equipment is pretty popular for pure strike on Saiyans. Or not Saiyans specifically. I think that's just a straight up melee item.
Yep.
But there's also Munch, which is going to be a bunch of strike attack for red units. And then a favorite for a lot of players that'll help you make some mistakes right now. And frankly, both of his attack sets are pretty respectable. But you can run this should be fun. And that's going to give you damage to Hybrid Saiyans, base HP, and some blast attack. But you're mainly running that for the HP. And the only reason why I would recommend that over the awakened items is just an easy item to farm if you guys are just kind of throwing some items on your characters. Other than that, I think there is the brand new item called Finally Time to Go Wild. And that one's going to be situational, but it's both defenses with special and ultimate damage. But other than that, I think those are all the items that piqued my interest. There might be a pure strike item just kind of sitting around there that I'm missing right now, and that's typically what you're wanting to go for.
But I think the Kaioken one is the one that you were already. That's a pure strike one, and yeah.
No, this Kaioken is not pure strike. It's just like 30%
defense,
base
right?
strike attack.
Yeah.
No, his best item is specifically if you run 3 Gogetas here in the near future, you're going to want Awakened Hold On to My Shoulder.
Okay.
The rolls for that, the Kaioken equip are terrible.
Yeah,
I hate
really
that
bad.
equip. I got 3 gold nodes on it, and I only have it at S, despite all the pain I went through to get them.
One more I have to bring up. Well,
Yeah.
there's a much better item than that called All Right, and it's for the Fusion Warriors team, and it's going to give you 5% pure strike attack per Fusion Warrior. And then it's also both defenses. Yeah, it's base Vegeta saying All Right. So that item, and there's going to be some Gogeta teams in the future, and you're going to see this man do like 100 to nothing with 2 strike arts and no setup. But he needs a couple more pieces of the puzzle. Yeah, there's Mist in chat saying about All Right. Yeah, but the key to those pure strike items is you typically need to run 3 out of 3 of a tag. Like if you're running the Bardock squad, you're mixing Broly, Bardock, and Gogeta. So that's actually Bardock is anime originals. He doesn't count as movies. So yeah, you're only 2 out of 3 movies or 1 out of 3 fusions. So you can't use those items, and then the base strike attack multipliers will be better.
All right.
That's about all we can say.
So that sounds like that's about it. So let's move on to the other unit that's gotten a Zenkai, and that is Extreme Frieza. And we've seen some pretty big acclaims on him. So Ryuden, I just saw you put out a showcase on him today. What do you think of him?
Yeah, so I think he's really good. The combination of his stats alongside with what they did to his kit, he can put in work. Although part of me is concerned that this is more telling of how deprived the LOE tag is than it is so much how good he is. But I don't know. He has a little bit of some last standing buffs right there. But I think it's the combination of his debuffs, especially with LF Frieza, that really help him out. His supportive capabilities for Frieza Force, the debuff from LF Frieza as well as himself, you can really cripple your opponent. And the crazy part is the equips he has access to as well. He has access to the Frieza Force equip where it's, I believe it's second form Frieza. And he gets a massive amount of both strike and blast attack per Frieza Force member. And you combine that with the EX Blue equip alongside this new equip that he got as part of his farming event where he's getting blast attack per Frieza Force battle member. He just does an overwhelming amount of damage. He does a very damn good job. I was really impressed with him, as was the super LOE fan Goresh. He was very impressed with him. So he puts in a lot of work. But I mean, they could definitely use some more units. We shouldn't bank on just one EX Zenkai for LOE. They need some more.
Yeah, I guess if you guys didn't hear Ryuden, he brought up an item that's probably one of the most cursed items in Dragon Ball Legends. If you think this is Kaioken item is hard, the second form Frieza item, I think it might be the strongest item in the game. No.
We're talking about.
Oh no, it's third form Frieza. It's Gwa. It's the stats on this item is you have to be an extreme Frieza Force member. Okay, and it's 16. You have it up on the screen now.
No, but I use it on the Ginyu Force.
It's one of the hardest items in the game. I have never seen it Z'd. I've actually memed on people to ask them to send me a screenshot. So if you got one at me,
I have one in Z.
So there, yeah. Someone told me that Ryuden had it. So that's one of the hardest items in the game to get.
Really?
That item.
The one
yes.
Gresh is bad at me.
Dude, you can't get it. You can't get it. You are so holding bad. Like the holy grail of damage.
He told me. He's like, what ritual did you do to get this? I'm like, I just rolled it once.
No, you sacrificed a goat and its family. Like, there's no way. This item is pure damage. It's 7% strike damage inflicted per Frieza Force battle members. So that's 7, 14, 21. And it does that for slot 2 and 3 for both strike and blast attack. For the EX Frieza Force guys, all 3 of them, I wanted to bring this up. Their items for these units, if you hunt them down and you assemble Exodia, they hurt. Like, this team hurts, but God help you on that journey. Like, there's no way. You got to be a fan of these units to commit that much resource into hunting all these items. But if you do, it's gonna hurt, and that's damage, guys. There's base strike attack, and then strike damage, and then you're just talking about pure damage at that point. I don't know any pure damage items besides maybe the Ginyu items. I think maybe they have one, but this is just pure damage, and it's nutty. But yeah, if you want to start that journey, guys, you might get those daily resets going right about now.
Mm-hmm. It took me so long to get one that I gave up after it. That's like, no,
you got to see.
Go through that again.
I never got an S. Every item I ever got was A, and I gave up since I didn't mainline the team.
Yeah, because I was running Ginyu Force, the extreme ones, for a long time until they really finally fell off. So I still tried every day, and I only did one reroll every day to keep my sanity, and still it took me weeks for one Z. I was rerolling like crazy. Like, I was spending so many of these equipment medals in the shop and just getting one after the other, and it took so long to even just get 5 of them with like a golden first slot. Because I think all of the slots are pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like you roll like 1 to 2%.
Yeah.
when you're trying to get the item, and I gave up because I was spending hundreds of chrono crystals on just an off meta team. I think actually I was chasing Ginyu Force at the time. But it's, yeah, as Miss said, that all right item is pretty good. But this Frieza and frankly all of the EX, I'm just happy that they came out with this full team. It's not optimal, guys, but if you assemble them all, they do damage, and I'm glad they're in the game. I'm really happy with these units.
Yeah, the one problem is that, as you said, there's not really a good extreme team yet. Like, they're all Frieza Force, but you don't have a purple, for example, to go like blue, purple on the extremes. So what do you have? Like 2 blues, a yellow, and a red, right? So,
yeah.
So I'm guessing that his optimal team would still be what, blue, purple on LOE, what we're seeing on screen right here.
Yeah, that'd probably be his. That's probably his best team. He basically, it would be really damn helpful if he had LF Frieza there too. Those two put together, the combination of like giving the damage to and the key recovery as well as the debuffs, yeah, they just melt everybody.
Did you also make people forfeit left and right like this?
Yeah, it was. I think it's more like people were underestimating how much damage he could do. I also really like LOE is structured so interestingly. They just string together so damn well. Like Cooler's ultimate giving him a green card, which works perfectly with both this EX Frieza as well as the LF Frieza as well, and then the additional blue cards, and then you can go to like full power and just chuck pizzas at them. It's just, I like how it's almost as though every single character is designed in such a particular way that the LOE team is just a ton of fun. Their playstyle is so much fun. This guy getting a blast card, even when he hits the green card, even something as simple as that is awesome. Like, how many times have you used LF Frieza where you use a green card, but you don't draw a card quick enough to actually take advantage of your opponent being stunned? Well, you don't have to worry about that with him. If they gave him card draw speed, holy crap, that would be so scary. If they gave that EX Frieza card draw, oof, that would have been a world of hurt.
Yeah, but he also has the green card where he paralyzes or like immobilizes the opponent long range, right?
Yeah, they changed it. It used to be just to mid range. Oh, well, it wasn't the full length of the field. Now they updated it. Thank goodness for that.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Like, man, that's so nice.
The LOE team, like they've got so many counters built into their kit. I would love it. I know Goresh keeps saying green golden Frieza, but if yellow full power Frieza gets a Zenkai in the near future, I think they will legitimately be in a good spot at this point.
I'd love if he got it too. Honestly, I really enjoy it. Like Namegoku got it. You may as well pair this guy too. Do it. It would be a lot of fun.
It'd be beautiful. Like there's counters in the game. He's still gonna get one shot by Gohan. That's not what we're concerned about. Like everybody else in the game, he's gonna take away their key, take a hit, feed into these Frieza, like the blue cards and everything. And I'm really happy that this EX Frieza doesn't just have a blue Z ability, that he can contribute to the rest of the LOE team as well. I think he's Frieza Force, right? But his Z ability is not worthless, if you would. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of this unit. I'm a big fan of the power they gave him too. Like it feel like they didn't pull their punch that hard with him.
Which is also nice because it's kind of, it's like of course you need a lot of resources to grind him all the way up, but it's a free unit, so to speak, because I think most people will have him at 7 or higher stars. So in that way, you probably already have him, you use the energy. I think he's definitely worth grinding. I finished him over the weekend and also maxed him out with the double drops on the weekend events. And I'm definitely planning to take him out on stream like on Monday and just try him out on a couple of different teams that I haven't played in a long time. So I think that's also just cool to kind of spice things up, in PvP, even if you just want to run some fun teams. Just not sure if you would do it in like a super high rank like Prof. You're probably like in the top 100 right now. Would you run him there?
This Frieza?
Yeah.
Oh, I could easily compete with this Frieza. There gets a point where you run into like some monstrosity blue purple Saiyan team and you just don't have the damage anymore. But that's why people laugh at me for how much I value support units. But especially with the new mechanics of constantly swapping, you're able to achieve these buffs. Like the old meta, you sat on a unit till you used your vanish, right? Now you vanish to get the buffs, you swap to get the buffs. You're constantly moving, and this Frieza, he can take advantage of that. And not only that, his buffs are just there. I think the only thing I don't like about him is I'm pretty sure they can be canceled.
So I think he has 2 buffs against 20% blast damage against Saiyans and reduce damage received from Saiyans by 15%.
No,
and I think
for the ally buff.
Yeah, these can be canceled.
No. Wait, can it? Oh, is that?
I think his buffs can be canceled, and I think that's where the Legends Limited Frieza really has an edge over him right now. But they can go together, and they let you take a character like Final Form Cooler and pretty much duel your opponent with them, right?
Yeah.
The damage output that these units give, and it's why I put so much stock into the EX Gogeta, is because EX Gogeta on every swap out gives 10% damage to the team that they keep, and he can heal the team at that point too, right? And so he kind of fixes that hole, and this Frieza kind of helps fix it. That's why I really want to see that Final Form Frieza, because right now LOE just needs a unit that they can confidently throw in front of a bus. They've got it all. Like you're watching this footage, look at the damage this unit's pushing out, right? They've got that. They just need a little bit of oomph when it comes to disruption and what do you call it? Specifically taking a hit. And I think endurance is already there. Zenkai full power Frieza, and I'm a happy camper.
Yeah, he just needs, I don't know, maybe he would be the first unit that doesn't have like revival, but he can say, okay, my endurance can't be canceled through you, Vegito Bo and co, something like this, because that's one thing that happened, like I think around 2nd anniversary was when LOE finally completely fell off. where I remember Goresh saying, like, full power Frieza used to be that unit that you just described. You just throw him in front of anything because he reduces ki, he has endurance and anything. But then, Vegito Blue came around and he just nullified your health restoration with a strike card. And you're like, okay, well, now I don't need him anymore.
Well, they're yellow transforming Vegito and EX Gogeta both have a very interesting kind of damage reduction, right? I guess Rage Strong says it too, but I would like to see, instead of him having an invincible endurance, maybe a 1-time or 10 timer counts, 15 timer counts, whatever it may be, pretty much the end of your opponent's combo, gets like 70-80% damage reduction. That way you can still cancel him and one-shot him, because I still think you should reward the players for like landing the Zenkai Goku blue card or whatever counter and just straight up killing him. But I think we're starting to just theorize about another unit at this point, but I think LOE is staged and ready to start shining. This green cooler is, although not specifically being an LOE unit, is actually doing a lot of work for their team. And I think they're just a banner away from being relevant.
Like one more Zenkai and a good new unit, kinda.
Yeah. Just Zenkai LF Frieza. Heck, I'm ready.
No, there are other LFs that need it first.
No, it's okay.
I was talking about Piccolo.
Oh my gosh. The one person that summoned for him.
Who's Piccolo? I didn't know he had an LF.
Bro, if that Piccolo gets a Zenkai, they better have it to where he like has just a ton of defense to be able to take some hits from Gohan. Otherwise, he needs to come out in like 6 months when Gohan isn't a thing.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, I guess that Frieza, I'm gonna definitely try him out. It looks like he can dish out the damage. But how well does he tank? Like, can he take a hit, or is he still pretty weak?
Are you talking about the Piccolo?
No, about
the
blue Frieza Extreme.
Oh, sorry. No, Frieza can do... the combination with his... The meta, there's a ton of, like, Saiyans and stuff like that, so... combining... Even if it's a small amount, taking a little bit less damage from Saiyans with his high defenses, he does a decent job tanking, yeah. I think some of the footage showed it, too. He took a couple hits, and you could comfortably leave him there. It's not like UI Goku getting hit once. You're like, oh, crap, I gotta leave. Frieza can take a little bit of damage. Like that was the last stand Namek Goku, and he did like maybe a quarter of his HP. Not too bad. Pretty comparable to this LF Frieza, who I'm pretty sure has the platinum equipped for double defenses, so not bad.
No, not at all. He can take a bit of a hit. He's kind of like Purple Gohan, where he's got generic bulk but nothing really supporting it. So you can take a few hits and confidently maybe swap into him to soak an ultimate and not really worry about him, dying like Vados or UI Goku would. But he's definitely not. He's not Purple Cooler,
Yeah, he's definitely not that guy.
But
you imagine if they Zenkai'd him.
Oh, please! Like I know they're out of order, but I just want them to rip the Band-Aid off. I would be one of the guys like cheering at the top of his lungs if they announced that they're just doing a massive patch and like every unit's getting a Zenkai, and then it's just gonna be chaos for a month.
Okay. Well, let's not go too far.
I know I'm alone here, but I'm done with this drip feed. I hate Zenkai, and I want it to just be over.
So basically,
I feel like one of the curses. Yeah, well, one of the curses of the game right now is is Zenkai better than a normal unit, right? Well, if anybody that picks up this game and knows nothing about it would have to just be like, oh, look at the fancy golden border and higher stats. They're clearly trying to make these the better units, right? So if we drip feed them, the new Zenkai units are going to be scaled up to the current level of power creep, right? So in essence, the new Zenkais should be better than the old Zenkais, and we have 2 levels of power that they're constantly keeping up with. So they either make the new banner like the Pride Troopers, just bust it on a different level to keep up with this drip feed of freaking Zenkais, or they rip the Band-Aid off, they set a level for a standard. You guys play Pokemon, the term pseudo legendary. It's the Pokemons that have the stats of a legendary but they're not, right? It's that same kind of situation right now. They don't have a normalized stat ceiling. We don't have a true level of what Zenkai is supposed to be defined as. We have this gray area that they keep floating in between, and it's not clear cut. And you have these people saying, well, Zenkai is the guaranteed best option. Just spend 7,000 Chrono Crystals. And then we got this guy on the other side of the aisle that's able to say Topo and Jiren are so strong on their own, they don't need Zenkai.
I'm that guy on the other aisle. So
yeah, well, I'm with you, bro. I've been running Topo,
Dude, they're amazing,
Jiren, and Vados, and I've been eating Saiyan Zenkai teams alive.
I literally will pick them over like 90% of the teams in the game.
But it's a cancer they're drip feeding into the game I know the resource and all that sounds horrendous, right? That's Bandai's problem. That's Bandai for setting up this situation. That has nothing to do with Zenkai needing an answer. That's us deciding that we've been eating this poison for months and that we just have to deal with it at this point. I know they can't do balance patches in this game, and if they drip feed it, the new units will always be more powerful, and that's my biggest fear. Is that the units like Red Gogeta, I told you guys, you're going to have a few months where you're going to have fun with this guy, and then he's going to be relegated to your bench, and then you're going to be looking at the new Red Fusion Warrior that comes out and benching him for him. And, I don't think it should be that way. And I think that...
I see that take. It's like, it's just because if it's not coming all at once, you constantly got to one up each other. Just release them all at once, and in that way, new units can be guaranteed. Like, all right, that's the level all the Zenkais are at. Make the new guy better than that. And that's
like I see Zenkai if it was going to be done, and I was sitting with a bunch of people that were saying, okay, we have to have this system in the game so we can have a higher tier of units. I would have made Zenkais the keystone unit of your team, right? You're building your team around that Zenkai, and maybe your goal is to make that Zenkai overpowered. But taking a bunch of LR units and Dokkan doesn't win you the fight, right? You got to build the team around your units, and I think that's where Zenkai could have been. But it's not. Right now, you go Unga Bunga, this unit has that, and you go thumb, and you start popping heads, right? And that's where I think it's toxic, and that's where you get this absurd level of power creep to where the old generation of units just almost have no hope of keeping up now.
That's the essence of a gotcha, isn't it? What happens?
This was supposed to be competitive, dang it.
But then
it is gotcha.
It's a gotcha
for sure.
First and foremost in their eyes.
It is 100%, and like you're not wrong. Like I'm gonna plug a little bit for 5.9. Actually, have a video coming up this week about Goresh talking about power scaling and how it messes games up. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in more talking about it. But I think we should move on to the next topic.
It also provides them their continuous flow of income that would be hard to supplement that with another system that's as successful as power.
Well, and let me go ahead and talk good about power creep for a second. If I'm a game company and I have a title that I'm constantly trying to introduce new mechanics on, right? There is only one real way. I can either pay a massive playtesting group and hopefully they're not biased, or I can release a stat to the game and let's see what the players do with it. And they can keep this game fresh by giving you something new to work with. And then when they see how that new ability falls into, like UI Goku, right? They clearly were testing the waters with this unit. And they clearly, like, if they gave him the defenses and everything else on top of it, you guys would have unanimously said Z tier, you can't kill this guy. But they gave him a glaring flaw, which is the fact that you can one-shot him. And they gave him the most powerful ability we have seen yet in the game, right? So that was power creep, but in my opinion, that was power creep done right. He is the strongest in the right hands, but I mean, it's hard to do that. And they didn't make it as a Vegito Blue situation where they just straight up power crept the game and said, here you go, just win, for a couple seasons. So I think that if there's two ways of doing the power creep, and when you just straight up release a unit that's better, that's where we got a problem. And Zenkai, as far as any layman would look at it, is going to be just better. And that's my issue. That's why I wish they could rip the Band-Aid, normalize it, send everybody just hundreds of thousands of souls for their time spent in the game, and then start upgrading, right? But obviously, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is also that Zenkai is kind of the safer investment in terms of not getting shafted, right? Because you know that it's going to be roughly 7K to get it to Z7. If you have the unit at 7 stars, that's another problem. But you can summon 7,000 crystals on a banner, you get nothing. You can do the 7K on a Zenkai unit, you know that you're going to get a busted unit if you summon on the right one, because, I mean, there are kits out there. And the one thing that I think Legends is not, in my opinion, Legends is supposed to be competitive, but it's not. It has too many random aspects in there. So that's, I think, where they wanted to keep the gap small between, casuals and competitive people, just so that the casuals would still stay. I think with that, we can move on to the next topic after derailing just a little bit. We didn't talk about the Zenkai booster missions yet for Gogeta, where you can get a bunch of Z-Power and Awakening Z-Power. Ryuden, did you even need them to get him to 14 stars, and did you get him?
No, I didn't. I didn't need to use it. But I mean, just like any other, I don't know how they decide when to give these missions, but I mean, for anyone that is really interested in getting him Zenkai Awakened, you have a nice little mission here that can help you out. I mean, if you maybe came later to the game, I don't recall Red Gogeta being on too many banners. So if you're someone that didn't have him at the 7-star requirement, then at least you now have nice little mission that can get you up there, and with it some Awakening Z power. So I mean, we've said it for every single one of these. If you're someone that cares about the character and you didn't have him at the stars, well, there's a 2000 Chrono Crystal little mission here that can get all you need.
Yeah, this is pretty much, I would only recommend this for people that don't have him at 7 stars. And that won't get him to 7 stars just doing all the free missions, right? Because you only get 1200 Awakening Z power. So if you already have like a 9-star Red Gogeta, you'd be better off just getting 2 Z levels summoning on the banner as opposed to the extra Z power, right? But if you're not able to Zenkai him yet, that's when this is because you get 1 1/4 Zenkai levels, which sucks compared to the 2 that you could get from the 2000, but you'll get the 3000 Z power, so you'll even be able to Zenkai him first, right? So,
Yeah, you also get a couple of resources on top.
Yeah, you get erasers. I'm pulling it up right now, so I'm not talking about my rear. But I would recommend picking this up if and only if you are a fusion main, you have not finished this unit, you are studious about your crystals, you ain't just hitting banners, and you do intend on 14 starring this unit or 13 star to get your stat cap. I myself and a lot of other people are starting to get invested in a unit, spending all your multi-Z power into it, and this will help you skip a few steps. It has some generic resource, and it's got like the erasers and everything in it. I think it's pretty decent. It mainly because you're going to get the free copies of the unit, and this is only if you're pushing the unit to his limits. If you are grabbing this unit because he's the new Zenkai unit, and you just want to play around with him for the current flavor of the month, no, this probably isn't a good deal for you. But if you are a fusion main and you haven't finished this unit somehow, then yeah, I'd say it's a steal. But I think because you're spending 2,000 crystals, get a little over a Zenkai rank and like 4 copies of the unit, right?
You get 3,000, which is exactly 7 stars.
3, 4, 5 copies of the unit.
And then, the one Zenkai rank, you mean like, yeah, it's 1,250 Awakening Z power. Yeah.
Yeah, so in that stretch, I think about how many times you've done a multi and you got all heroes. Okay, that's the difference we're talking here. And he just highlighted all of the crap you're guaranteed to get. It really comes down to is if you're confident that you like this unit, you've probably already purchased these missions, and my words mean nothing to you. If you're on the edge and you're a fusion main, I'd say how much time do they have to figure this out? 11 days. I would feel it out till like next week or this week, see what the Bandai is deciding to show us, because you got that much time, and then pull the trigger, because it's still 2,000 crystals if you're free to play. If you're not, you're probably not even caring about this section anyways.
Not wrong, because yeah, mine was at Red 2, and I still got the missions because in tandem with the free missions, I actually 14 starred him. And so, as you just said, stat cap, you get the extra little bit of Z ability as well, and just make him, just max him out. So I decided to just go for it, because it's still pretty much 5 guaranteed sparking pulls in this sense. And yeah, I did not have him maxed out because he wasn't on so many banners lately.
I think I got my first copy of him on the first anniversary when we got like the pity tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when I finally got to see him. Like he evaded me hard when he first came out. But we're about to talk about that event. But oh my gosh, this is probably my favorite event so far.
Well, then just go on.
Oh, well, if I'm just going on, this event has 0 brain work involved. You just put this Gogeta on your team and beat the event, and they shower you with resource. That is an event. There's no making a team with 2 yellows and a purple and making sure you miss 3 Blast Arts cards and evade 4 more. Nah, you're just gonna go clap the event really quick and get resource. I love it. I don't have much else to say about it. Like, it's as straightforward as it can get. Go get Gogeta.
Yeah, I would like to point out that this very well might just be nothing, but very coincidental what colors they picked for this banner art here. Like Super's in yellow, but then Gogeta is in a very, very specific shade of blue. And then play the event and upgrade Super Gogeta. It's yellow on bottom, and then it's transferring into the same shade of blue on the top half. What could that mean, you guys? What does it mean? I don't know.
Nothing.
Not right. NASA's a crystal ball.
What does this mean?
Everyone has been saying everything could be Gogeta Blue for the last 2 years.
Now,
so eventually
Bio Broly, that's what that means in the end right there.
No, it's like eventually he's gonna drop eventually, and then the people that are constantly saying like this is a clue, this is a clue, this is a clue,
well,
they'll
look,
be like, see,
right.
I told you.
Those people do exist, but I have specifically only been saying since like November that he's coming for this specific New Year. So I'm not just wildly firing shots in the dark like most of your average Redditors.
So these are educated guesses. You have stuff founding these conclusions.
Well, there's a lot of things that actually lead to it if we're actually looking at it. I mean, they're buffing Holy Trinity at the moment. Like we got Bardock, we got Gogeta. Goes to Broly. Broly's movie, it gets its like renewal. 2 years in January. Fusions needs a little tiny bit of help. We just got a Fusion Zenkai, so if they make Gogeta Blue red, he would get buffed by this guy. There's a lot of things that totally could, or he just goes on his team flat out. You get another Gogeta. Movies needs the help. Like, I don't know. I mean, Nas could be onto something, but at the same time, we've said it for the last like Rayuden's last 2 years. Everybody's
for this one,
Gogeta Blue.
I'm gonna agree with him though, but for different reasons. Not so much the color, but just because we talked about this on a different episode of the podcast where Goresh outlined how Black Friday isn't that big in Japan, but Christmas and New Year's are, and I mean, around that time, considering the movie anniversaries around that time, Black Friday gave us UI Goku. There's only a handful of units that are really more hype than UI Goku. And I mean, everyone's been screaming for this guy, and who better to give at that point? So I feel like those are really good points that could lead to him being dropped. I feel like those support the possibility of it.
With all that said, I want Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta more for GT, but I do think it's probably Gogeta Blue.
They should just release our Super Saiyan 3 Kid GT Goku. Let's just
give us all three. I want a banner with Super Saiyan Kid Goku that transfers to Super Saiyan 3. We get Gogeta Blue and we get Super Saiyan 4. Just give me one banner, all three of them. I'm in.
If that happens, I'm going to cry.
Triple LFs.
What about SS3 Kid Goku that goes grade 8?
That works too. Hey, dude, we'll take it, man.
Anything.
The grade 8 would be a feature of his transformation animation.
We already have a grade ape, and it's called Topo.
I mean, Topo could be that size, and it would actually fit. Like, it wouldn't be that weird.
So,
it would just be an animation feature showing the gold ape, and he transforms.
We know.
You just see his hand on screen.
Topo.
I've been using Topo for like the past week, and I can't get over how much this man does not care about your Gohan.
Dude, he's amazing.
He sneezes on you, and if he sees that you have enough damage taken to kill you, he just executes you with his main ability.
And he dabs on you too.
He dabs. He heals the team. He gives everybody way too much HP. Oh, look, a Rising Rush? Don't mind if I do. Like, what doesn't this unit do? Like, him and Vados have made me immortal. Like, I have to be goofing hard to lose now.
It's amazing.
Evolution Blue Vegeta
so
is
powerful.
not hype enough to carry New Year's fine.
Yeah, I know. It's not Evolution Blue Vegeta.
No
like,
way.
I'm with everybody else. I was feeling Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta because I feel like GT needs it. And then chat has pointed out way too many times that the Broly movie is coming for its anniversary. I think it's already past it, but it's kind of like, was it like November for Japan, January for America, or something like that? So we're in the middle of like the second or third year anniversary since this became a character. It's not like a lot of people in the community are saying, oh, well, that would just be too hyped to drop. That's exactly why they would drop it, is because you're so hyped about this unit, you're thinking they couldn't do it. As Gresh has pointed out, this is New Year's, so everybody's gonna be sitting on money here in a second from Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff. This is the perfect storm to sell a unit.
People in the chat keep saying, oh, they won't release an LF for New Year's because we just got LF UI Goku. All of you people must seem to have forgotten the time period very recently where they just put LF Piccolo and LF Frieza out at the exact same time, bro. There is
God.
nothing stopping them from putting out another LF this close to win Frieza. Or,
Not another
UI
dual
came
LF
out.
banner.
There's no way. There is 0.0% chance that New Year's does not bring a new Legends Limited. It might not be Gogeta, even though it is going to be Gogeta, but there's no way. There will be a new LL unit coming for New Year's.
It might not be Gogeta, but it's going to be Gogeta.
It's going to be Gogeta. I mean,
Probably going to be both Blue and Super
I
Saiyan 4.
swear.
So speaking of the Broly movie, it was actually released in Japan tomorrow.
Okay, so there you go. Like, I would not
And,
put it past Bandai announcing something for Gogeta Blue on the 15th of this week or the 22nd of next week.
And in the US, it was January 16th.
I would not be surprised. And they don't have their website, and they're still trying to hype us up for more to come. Like, if UI wasn't the peak of this this mountain, then I can only think of one thing the community wants more.
Yep.
You know, transforming
Dragon Fist
Kefla.
Goku.
What?
It's not
That's the
even
only
gonna
other
be
thing
Gogeta.
the
We're just gonna
community
get
would want.
we're gonna get a Legend Limited sparking limo.
Who?
Lemo? Wow, Lemo. Wow, no one remembers Lemo?
Who is that?
Yeah,
Broly
that's how much we want him.
That's how much we
Yeah,
need.
dude, when he runs with Broly and Chile, he gets like 100% damage buff.
Oh, this guy.
Right.
Yeah, with the beanie?
Yeah, you don't know. Come on, bro. The guy with the beanie. Yes, you know Lemo.
Now I do. Like, do I care about his name?
The one that was staring at Chila's badonkadonk in the movie.
Dude, we were all
The
staring.
audience,
What is
like-
your problem? That's
All right,
the only
we
shot
should
they
move
gave
on
you.
now. We should move on now. We're getting
Yeah, what else we
carried
got?
Okay, so the last one before we go to questions is a pretty small one. Is the new PvP equip we got. Prof, what do you think of that?
It's all right.
Which equip is this also? Because
It's Red Goku. I'm pulling up the item right now. It's Red Goku, double defense and blast attack by 20%.
what's on the picture of it? What does it look like?
Yeah,
It's Super Saiyan God Goku just staring at the camera.
Yeah. I think he's got like his hand out or something, right?
Yep.
I think this is a decent item. It's definitely geared for people
Right
that
there.
are trying to throw it on their Vados or their UI Goku or something, right? It's not UI Goku's best in slot item. Let's just go ahead and rip that band-aid off right now. It's a good item if you've pulled one from PvP, but he's UI Goku's got like some busted gear that we can go into later if y'all want, but it's all right. I think it's going to be more for, I guess, maybe Champa, but even then I don't like it on Champa as much. Like, I can't see where I care about this item. Maybe you guys have a different opinion, but the God Key team just has some of the most busted items in the game. Most of the God Key roster is also a Saiyan, so they have access to a lot of Saiyan items. And the current rival universe gear / God of Destruction gear is just busted when it comes to pure blast damage, when it will completely outweigh this item.
And then there's that Awakened Super Saiyan Blue Goku equip. Oh my god,
Mhm.
that equip
Yeah.
is absurd.
I think this item, for everybody in chat that got excited because maybe you pulled a natural Z or you just got lucky on an S that just, you got a gold slot, upgraded a bing bang boom, you got a decent item. Yes, it's a good item. Don't let us steer you wrong that way. I would not use my erasers on this item. No.
Especially with that
Just
last
crystals.
slot. That last slot has the worst rolls ever. And I only say this because I got a red first slot and I was curious. I was like, let's see how well this goes. It's terrible. It's brutal. So it just play PvP and then roll the C's or the gold node D rank equips that you get and then just hope for the best, really.
Yeah, in general, guys, for the speed at which these new awakening items are coming out, and frankly the non-awakened items, if you're doing true item farming, you're trying to find a red first slot that's perfect or 2 out of 3 gold before it's actually worth you spending any chrono crystals or erasers on.
Exactly.
When with the rate at equipment metals, you can buy 30 more of this item and pull 2 more gold slot naturals, and it's like you just bought 20 erasers. It's pretty nutty. So I wouldn't worry about resets on this, but yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. It looks like it's 8 to 22%. It's probably kept rolling like 12 to 15 for you.
Yeah, me too. I think the highest one actually was 15 point something.
Ouch.
But yeah, if you do play PvP a lot, then I think I got 2 or even 3 perfect first slots. And honestly, in general, I only reroll red first slots. If I'm farming an equip, I can buy with the equipment medals, or from PvP, I play a lot anyways. If I get a perfect slot, I keep it, and I usually even toss like yellow C's unless I don't have anything better.
It's so easy to get C slots now. Like my stream used to cringe at me selling all my S items, but you can reproduce a full set of S items with just a couple thousand medals. Yeah. It's not hard anymore to get these items, and so I think the only items that are non-awakened worth resetting is if you've got like 0.05 or 0.5% off of perfect, maybe. Like otherwise there's people that are fine expending resources, and I would be, a hypocrite to say I haven't, but I don't think it's worth it. This item is good, but it's middle of the road.
Any other thoughts, Brad? Nas?
No, not really.
PvP equipments generally are not the make or break best equipment in the game. Some of them are extremely good. Some of them are 100% forgettable. Great for free-to-play players. It's a great way to potentially for free get a good rolled piece of equipment, but it generally won't be your best in slot piece of equipment for any character, right? So just a cool freebie that they're getting for PvP, but largely ignorable for most pieces of equipment, including this one. I mean, it's for God Key, which I already have like a full lineup of S's for, so largely skippable for me, but if you're a newer player that's just starting to build this team out now, then this could be something you should go for. I mean, first blast attack character anyway. It's not going to help out any of your God Key strikers whatsoever, but
just makes
throw it on Vegito Blue if you absolutely need it, and I guess it'll be okay until you get something better.
Fair enough. Brad, you wanted to say something?
No, I was saying I didn't have anything else to check in with it, because I mean there's better equips for it, like definitely. It's not bad to have bolt defense. I like a defensive option, but it's not that high of a percentage to really push for it. I mean, you could, if you're grinding PvP just for this, you're going to rank 10k pretty easy. So if you want to do that, use it as your motivation, feel free to, but other than that, no, I'm good.
Yeah, that's I think where some people also get a little bit led astray just by the fact that you have a Z or Z plus equip. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily good. Because if you have like a Z plus equip, I could just put a friendship equip on my unit and it wouldn't do anything, and it's still Z plus, right? So if you go into PvP and equip full friendship Z plus equips, your opponent's gonna think, holy crap, and then you don't do any damage. So you also still need to look at the stats and what you actually want to accentuate in a character. Do you want them to have more attack? Do you want to make them more tanky? And is 13% base defense enough to make the character more tanky, or do you need maybe two equips where one has, like, I don't know, 18% strike?
Depends on the
defense,
character.
right?
I mean, like, it definitely depends on the character for sure. Actually, I'll touch on what you said right there, and then I think we'll move on to like the break or whatever else. It's not a bad idea to get some equips like Z pluses and stuff in like random friendship ones, so you can bait your opponent into thinking you're not using this like 3 obvious units. So like you can have a unit below that has 3 Z plus equips or some random crap, and it's like they don't know you're not going to use it, but it looks like you're going to use it because you have bomb equips. That's a pretty good option too, if you want to bait them into thinking, hey, I'm going to bring this blue, and you're definitely not even going to touch the blue unit. And they bring their red, and you just body the crap out of them, whatever. They bring their green and you just body the crap out of them.
Yeah,
that's it though.
All right, so with that said, we're going to take a quick break, and we will go over to questions. Again, if you want your questions in the podcast, make sure to keep your eyes peeled on our Twitter account. And on Fridays, we post our questions thread, answer with your question. 1 question per post, so we can keep them separate. And make sure to type !Linktree in the chat. Follow us on all our socials, and we will be right back.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about it. There is no green or yellow EX unit.
We're back.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And here we go with the questions. So the first question of today's podcast is from Sedant Verma, and he's asking, what are the biggest turn-offs that make you guys want to stop playing Legends for the day?
Lag. Probably lag takes it the most. I mean, I think, I don't know, each new day you're fresh, you're like, oh, I feel like playing a little bit of this, and then you play that really slow Play-Doh-like match where, you dash forward and your character's just flying, or your opponent's using blast armor, and you just see, for some reason, like the entire atmosphere condensing in front of his head, and you don't know if you don't know how to predict or how to time anything. Those matches make me say, okay, I think I'm done for the day. I'm gonna move on. Those are the ones that I don't like dealing with.
I'll say Gohan. Back to back to back Gohans. Like if you fight 3 in a row, it's like, okay, I'm gonna take a sec.
For me, it's just the somewhat. Well, it's not even somewhat. Just the one-dimensional nature of the game. Like, there's not too many different modes, ways to play it. They tried with co-op. Co-op is even less fun than regular PvE. So it's really like, are you in the mood to have a little bit of fun, also deal with some frustration in PvP, and then do that for like an hour or two, and then all right, move on to something else because you kind of get bored. Samey experience. It's not quite the same as a traditional fighting game, in the sense that there's all the gotcha and stuff involved, so it can get more frustrating than something like playing Street Fighter or something like that.
No, I think this game's more competitive than Street Fighter. I can't even finish the sentence.
Spending, yes, 100%.
No, I can't even finish that. I was just joking.
Well, you're right if you're talking about in terms of spending. This game is like the most competitive fighting game ever. But then in terms of actual gameplay, yeah, it's not.
Dude, I maybe it's because I hate myself, but if I have a laggy match, I'm like, it can't end like this. I can't let this guy walk away with that being my last match of the day, and I end up hitting another one. And I've been doing this for about 2 years since the game came out. I don't think there is a turnoff for me. I'm racking my brain, and every time I see myself getting tilted at the game, it's either at myself or my opponent. And if it's lag, I'm like, well, that can't be the final one. And then I'm addicted and I keep playing it.
What about Hercule?
I don't know. Hercule? No, that just makes me mad at Toshi.
Oh,
like, I don't blame Timmy for wanting to win.
What if it's consecutive Hercule matches?
Bro, okay, now you're literally trying to design my personal hell, and I think you've succeeded. Yeah, that would tilt me.
There you go, everyone. That's the answer for profits. Consecutive Hercule matches.
10 matches back to back to back where you all like get 3 paralysis in a row. Like, whoa.
Yeah, if you're trying to load the deck to get me to rage out that day, then yeah, sure. If I run into a dozen Hercules, I'll be like, screw this, we're going to Dokkan.
I mean, honestly, this game is not much better or worse than a lot of other fighting games. And I say that not in terms of like quality of the game, but I'm just like the overall experience. Like, if you're the type of person that's going to sit down and play Street Fighter for like 5 hours, you could probably get generally the same experience on Legends, because I mean, like, yeah, it's not quite as in depth as, an actual fighting game, but the core experience is mostly there. I would say like another one of the turnoffs that make me want to stop playing these days, just like, I don't know, it's 2020, virus, it's hermit life. More often than not, I'm at home, and why do I want to play a mobile game when I have access to my PC, my 55-inch TV, my controllers, Now
you're just flexing.
It makes it hard for me to want to sit there and play.
You can stop flexing and set up, bro.
Legends creator. That's
you're
why
you
got controllers, dude.
Oh my
god. Bro, I'm tapping on my TV like a madman.
Caveman.
Well, I mean, it's
swipe, go.
The interface for playing like a Cyberpunk 2077 with a controller on my PC and 2K versus let me sit at the same house and play on my phone for 5 hours. Like, the appeal is somewhat not there because we're not as mobile these days as what we were, but at the same time,
so I see what you did there.
Yeah, puns. But no, I don't know. That's just like, I don't know. I see Legends as something as part of like a balanced breakfast, if you will. Like, you sit there, play Legends for a couple hours, and you're like, all right, I'm at home. Let me play my actual console games. And I don't know.
Let me play a real game really quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into me getting salty with Legends for the day.
I just want to know where the breakfast analogy came in.
Because if you eat too much cereal, you're gonna hurt yourself and
eat some Cheerios one day and there's a rock in it.
The rock that Hercule threw.
I don't like this patch.
Yeah, the rock being Hercule.
That's pretty much what Hercule is. He's a Cheerio made out of diamonds, and you can't sell it.
You're just enjoying yourself. Then what is this? Hercule.
Broken tooth.
Yeah, so for me, I think it's basically when I turn off my stream. But most of the times, I am getting more frustrated with myself than either with myself or with the opponent, like double rising rushing or something like this. So, not sure.
No, not your opponent. It's Toshi, and you better double rush everybody you run into. like double, triple. If that rush button's ready, there ain't no such thing as BM anymore. If Hercule's the thing, you slap that button, you full power, steam ahead.
Honestly, even at this point with the battle system change, I think the taboo against Rising Rush should probably be toned down a bit, just because, I mean, they've done so many changes to it. Like, what are we going to do at this point? If it's going to be here to stay and they toned it down a little bit, maybe we should just move on the whole stigma that it's a bad thing and just keep going forward.
We're playing a mobile title. Your matches are over in less than 5 minutes, so your experience with this person that you hate more than anything in the world after their second rush is over within 5 minutes. And you can do it too. Like when Bulma first came out, Blue Bulma, I was thinking that you can't nerf Rising Rush anymore because she is legitimately designed for Rising Rush. There's people that would farm 2 rushes, and why are you punishing that guy for having a different team build than you? You're running freaking Bardock. You just 100-0 to somebody without a Rising Rush. Isn't that more BM? Like, I agree with Ryuden. I think in the current state of the game, getting double rush just means your opponent farmed them, and I believe, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, you guys produce the Dragon Balls at the same rate. So as long as you're consuming the cards at the same rate as your opponent, you should be dishing out the same amount of Rising Rushes.
Yeah, see, some people are in the comments are bringing this up, but what I was going to say following up is that we have units that are able to one combo and get the win, and yet a lot of people are still upset with the Rising Rush. I think, if anything, more frustration should be pointed towards the developers not doing a good job of actually balancing the units than the mechanic. Like, at this point, I would move beyond looking at the Rising Rush and just be like, goodness gracious, it's that unit. I must take out that unit.
I must kill him. And I think with that, I think with that we can move on to the next question before we go completely
exhausted
off topic.
that question.
Yeah. I'm not sure how well we can answer it. I was hoping Kuba would be here, but unfortunately something came up, and he's the master of the story. After the latest part of the story, how do you guys feel about potentially Giblet turning on his master and joining Shallot, maybe then resulting in them using Potara to fuse? Anybody of you played
I played it. I didn't even know that's what happened.
I didn't even know Giblet had a master.
Shouldn't have chosen that one.
Yeah, we might have to.
I could definitely see it as plot. Well, look, the story's been out for a few days, so people that care have likely already played it. People that don't care aren't going to care about us talking about it, right? So I did find it interesting that the main bad guy said the word "foo" like 9 times too. I don't know if that's just supposed to be some weird alien laugh, or if he's referencing the actual foo. I don't think so, because foo is heroes, and they don't have permission to do that. But
do they? That would be a big reveal if we're getting a Heroes collab.
Well, yeah, that would be dope. I don't know if they actually have licensing or permission to do that. But yeah, you can definitely tell in the story that Giblet is kind of been forced into the position that he's in, and that might backfire at some point, which may coincide with us getting a playable Shallot or Giblet down the road, and maybe he'll be customizable too, and we have 2 cool characters like that. It'd be dope. All right, but yeah, everything is cool except his name.
I like the fusion name Gypshat. I like that name.
Okay, I think we can move on to the next one.
What about Shablet?
But yeah, first off, shout out to Ash AJ because I forgot to give credit for this question. The next one is coming from Juzeo. Not sure how to pronounce it correctly, but the question is, what small feature or detail in Dragon Ball Legends puts a smile on your face? So it's kind of the counter question to Sid's earlier. He says, personally, it's PvP messages. I'm always in a rush to collect them, although I rarely use them.
It's the skip ticket change that puts a smile on my face. If I need a ton of souls, me just going whoop, I just need to go all the way to the end and then just walking away is my favorite thing. I love that. That puts a smile on my face. I love that. And the adventure system. The whole little like, oh, I have more copies of this thing, so you just auto-populate all the slots. I love those 2 conveniences. I like those a lot. Those put a smile on my face, because before I hated that.
Ryuden said probably the biggest smile or quality of life thing that I've been wanting them to do is for the adventures just to auto-select. But if you want to put the biggest smile on my face, you'll go to your equipment section and you'll add an auto-sell feature and let me filter what I want to auto-sell. Please God, let me sell like 20 items without tapping 20 items. Just let me pick them. that would put the biggest smile on my face, and I bet it put a smile on y'all's faces too.
Oh, it would. I mean, they did that with the soul boosting. Remember, it used to be you have to. It wasn't not as bad as Dokkan, but it used to be that you couldn't get the whole board at once. I think they should do what you did, like, oh, sell everything that's D, E, F rank. Just get rid of them because I know I don't care about them. That kind of thing. I agree. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Even without the limit of 20, just all of them.
Just anything that's not locked up. Let me, because you can like pull up a filter list, right? Let me tap it. I don't want many of my A's, S's, Z's to be selected, right? And then wham, anything that's not locked up, ready to sell. And oh my god, equipment farming will become actually accessible. Because right now it takes so many items. Like you buy 30. Now you have like 200 items or 180, 210, whatever. You're sitting on all those items, and then you go through, and only 5 of them are worth keeping. You upgrade 5 of them, and now you're tapping your phone for like 180 times, at 20 times each time, right? And then selling them. Rinse, repeat. And then you got to go buy another 200 items and do it again and do it again. You end up eating hours of your time just selling items to the shop. It's a Zenny farm, sure, but if we could auto sell, man, I'd be a happy camper.
I think for me, it must be, I mean, partially what Ryuden said, even though I still don't like that these Nimbus animations take so long, but in conjunction with the double drop on the bonus battles on the weekend. That must have been like the best thing ever for Zenkai awakening a unit and actually soul boosting them. It's just, okay, I'm not in a rush, or I know that this unit or this color unit is going to drop. So I'm going to stock up on the weekend where I need like a fraction of the energy I would need normally, during the week.
You know what? I liked that they added in the Gogeta event. I know we're going back on an old topic, but there's like these daily stages to get, like Zenkai Souls red from like level 1 to 7 and stuff like that. I would love if they continued that. Like that's another little like quality improvement thing that they did, that little detail. Maybe they are listening when we say like it'd be, Zenkai Souls are like costly. It'd be great if we had other ways to get it. Stuff like that. Like just these minor like conveniences. I like all those things. I hope they continue that. That's an awesome thing that they added.
Ooh, Brad, what about
one
you?
more thing.
Hydros, go ahead.
I was gonna say, coming from Dokkan, one thing I love is that they have a high quality option. Please, thank you for having that. But also, just in terms of arts, I know that we're not technically. They think we don't get a hold of the assets, but please, for the love of God, take the paint splatter off the renders.
Yes.
I hate it.
Yes, please.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. There's like streak effects on all the characters.
Yeah. Some of them they do it separately. I like that they do that, but they don't do it consistently. I would like it to not be a part of the
and
card.
also the ones that don't have it are always lower resolution. If they have 2, the one with the paint splatter is always the higher res one.
Of course it is, because they hate us.
But that's like a very creator-specific thing, I guess, or thumbnail.
Yeah, if you don't like the thumbnails, having a giant brush stroke of darkness going across.
Oh, yeah. That gives it a...
I love it, man. I love having it take up 99% of the thumbnail and have like a little corner just for the character.
Yeah, put some text on it.
Like,
so, Brad and Ass, what do you guys
think? Not even about the character. It's about Zenkai paint splatter.
I mean, I used to like titles a lot until I kind of found out they were like meaningless. Like, I like titles. They were cool for a while there. I don't know. I actually, whenever I have a good day with Legends, like playing, and I get like 6, 7, 10 good games in, they're actually fun. I have a good recording. That's always top tier. I don't know, because I'll bots. I like bots. I don't know, man.
For me, it's definitely...
like I enjoy when I have a good time with the game, when I actually have a good match and it's clean and it's like, that was a good match. That's a lot of fun. But it's like one every like 12 matches now. So
I just like the animation. Like I like seeing the cool animations, pocket size. It makes me really happy when you summon a unit that's got some really clean looking animations, like the transformation animations or the win screen or the ultimate arts, the legendary finish, whatever it be. I just like all the little attention to detail they put into all the animation in the game. And if we're talking about just something that makes me smile, it'd definitely be something like that.
Yeah, no matter how the unit is performing in the current meta, there's always that guy on Reddit that stitches together the comparison from the source material to what Legends produced. And that is one of the things I look for, and one of the things I enjoy most about Reddit is when that guy stitches together, because it's really cool seeing the attention to detail that they put in the game. To even the camera shots are almost like identical, you know. So I gotta agree with Nas. That always tickles me when I see the literal moment I just played play out in the anime.
True. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question, and the next question is coming from Blake Madison, asking, do you guys think that with the meta being super offensive, HP-Z abilities are not as good as they once were? Stating, I rarely see HP buffers like Raditz, SSJ3 Gotenks, Yellow Kid Gohan, and Red God Goku being run on any teams right now.
I would argue that HP buffers are just as valuable as they always have been. It's just that value is being overshadowed by having better benches or just different, like, actual metas of characters, right? Like, if Super Saiyan God Red Goku had an amazing Zenkai, then he would still be just as mandatory on bench as he was before. But because he's such a doo-doo character, you bring him as a dedicated bench, when you could bring someone like Fusion Zamasu, who actually would be relevant in battle when you might need a color, or, you know, even like the red Super Saiyan Blue Goku or something, they're carrying the same color. There's other units that you have to compare the value for, of, do I bring a unit that I could actually functionally use in battle should I need that color, or do I bring a unit that gives a really good buff but is completely useless on the battlefield, right?
I guess it really depends on your team. I mean, if you got a team that really prioritizes constantly healing, like regen, it's super valuable. But for most teams, I think they just, I don't know. I believe HP buffs scale differently than the others. I think it's more linear, whereas these strike attacks, strike defense, same for blast, scale differently as you get more and more buffs. But for HP, it's not the case.
I was about to bring up Ryuden's point. There's diminishing returns in Dragon Ball Legends. And the opposite is actually coming true, that there is no way outside of items to achieve an increased HP pool. Items and Z abilities, right? And the Zenkai abilities are not providing HP. I think the HP Z ability is more valuable than it has ever been in Dragon Ball Legends, to the point where when I first joined this podcast, I did not use an HP bench. I was full offensive, and that was my answer to the meta. Now my answer to the meta is making sure I can take that 20% more damage. And one of my units has officially been locked into a 14-star Kid Gohan that I cannot bring into any combat purely because he has been the deciding factor on too many of my fights for me to justify taking him off.
Well, I think we'll end it off real quick on this question after this, but I feel like the thing we need is different type of HP buffers. Like, you look at the God Goku, like that kind of HP buffer, like crit and HP is absurd. That's the kind of thing you would be bringing. So even if they just did blast attack and HP to make a unit kind of relevant to bring them, you know, maybe don't bring them in actual battle, but you get a little more something. I think you'd start seeing that a little more often. But just HP, I agree with Prof. You definitely need to be taking that extra percentage. But there's also an argument that if your stars are so low, you're not taking it either way. You may as well be doing more damage. There's an argument both ways. So
speaking of stars, I'm still shocked that they had the audacity to give Super Vegito an HP buffer at 14 stars.
This is why fusions will be timeless, boys.
What, you mean you're gonna have them at
I'm still taken back that it existed. Like, they actually were like, yeah, this is okay. Do something at 14 stars. Like they're like, yeah, incentivize it. Here, throw the sprinkle there. Like, are you kidding me? Really?
I mean, you know, there's at least 10 people in the world that went in for that. Minimum.
Yeah,
well, there's probably hundreds.
This is funny to me.
Like,
Okay, so Red 18 gets the Android Z ability at 14 star as well. She is a phenomenal support unit, but nobody knows this and nobody uses her because who 14 starred the Red 18? But that is a sleeper unit for that same reason for the Android team right now. You can have an Immortal 16 with those two together. Like,
yeah, I mean,
she's been on like 2 banners ever.
I remember one of my viewers made me a team where the yellow Rage Trunks healed over 800,000 HP per green card. I mean, of course, you forego a lot of, attack and defense buffs, but just for shits and giggles. And I think I saw somebody on YouTube where he actually healed over 1 million with a green card on Rage Trunks. And that's like, it's obviously goofy, but it's crazy.
I know we're trying to move on real quick, but yeah, you can stack over like 4 to 4.5 million HP on a Fusion Warrior team. You got it fully whaled out, and there is nothing the generic player can do against that. Like, you have literally 2 HP bars over your opponent, and yeah, you touch them, they die anyways because they're still stacked. So yeah, I think that the reason why you're thinking HP has fallen off, it's exactly why it's as important as ever. You need to be able to take a hit. You need to be able to confidently get comboed by a Super Saiyan 3 Goku and not just die. So I would heavily encourage everybody listening to me talk right now, if you're trying to get to the top tier of PvP, you need at least a couple double defensive Z abilities or an HP buff. But I would still pick HP over double strike attack defense, or I'd say the only Z ability I would value more over an HP Z ability is those EX ones if you're running like GGY, or actually that's not even a thing we were just talking about.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that.
But if you're running like the current blue purple Saiyans, you're probably safe not worrying about running Raditz or whatever, and you can just go balls to the wall on damage and defenses, but that's just because they're over optimized on the bench. Everybody else is running is going to need that HP buff, and even then, like for like region teams, they're getting close to that point, but as Ryuden pointed out, they're going to get indefinite value out of constantly healing with that increased HP pool as well. So yeah, I think it's still valued.
I'm waiting for the day where Legends gets super cheeky and they make a double defense buffer that has HP buffs at 14 stars. I'm waiting for that day. It's gonna happen,
bro.
It's gonna happen. You know it too. Oh, double defense is 35% plus 20% HP at 14 stars.
Or I'll do better. Characters. They actually make the Zenkai abilities unique, and one of the Zenkai buffs will be like 20% to all stats, and then he's gonna give like 30% HP or something crazy.
That's terrible.
Okay, now I think we should move on.
I don't want to give him bad ideas.
Don't give him ideas.
Exactly. So the last question for today comes from Eugene. And the question is, do you think making Ultra Space Time Rush a one-stage boss rush event with Super Battle Road-like difficulty from Dokkan would make it a fun mode to play?
Yes.
No.
Wait, I don't think anything will make it fun to play.
PvE is just not fun in this game, period. Like, making it... Condensing everything into one stage is not going to make it better.
I hate PvE, but if you drop content that is as difficult as the OG Full Power Frieza event, and it's not going to be clearly designed that I'm needing to summon the latest LF unit to beat it, but you come out with a hard as frick fight for me to sit down, talk to my chat, maybe talk to some friends for the next couple weeks to figure it out, and you give me all of my rewards for summoning that event, 1, I'm going to remember that fight. 2, I'm going to think about what I'm doing. And 3, I'm going to have fun while doing it just because I'm being challenged. Right now, Ultra Space Time Rush sucks because I'm hitting auto combat and walking away from my device.
Difficulty all you gotta PvE in this game is not the fun that you... Like, if they found a way to make hard content in this game fun, then yeah, I'd agree with you. But the PvE being hard in this game just involves the AI instantly vanishing everything you do, and then piling on so many buffs on the characters that they don't even have. Well, that's
because they're being uninspired. They could control your deck. Like, they could make it to where half your deck is blue cards and you can only play Dynamic Goku, and Frieza is launching off these attacks and you have to keep countering over and over and over again.
Baseball Yamcha?
Yeah, the Baseball Yamcha event. They clearly are fine with manipulating your deck and your character's kits. And that's what they need to do. They need to not have it to where I have to summon this, come up with a stupid hard scenario for me where Frieza is constantly throwing pizzas all day, and I've got to rotate 3 characters constantly to juggle this man, or I'm dead. I think that, and 1, they've also got to get into the game and make it to where I can't just float step the boss to infinity.
No, you shut
all
up.
All PvE events are just out the door at this point.
That's the only way that PvE is even tolerable right now. Don't tell them.
Yeah, it's float stepping your boss, but you're not even playing it anymore. You're just sucker punching the boss. And
the same can be said about the enemy. The enemy's not even playing; it just sits there and waits to perfect vanish me, and there's nothing you can do about it. So the AI's not playing either. It's just being annoying.
I think you just don't like Legends at that point, because that's how the players are too, and it's not always PvE.
The players are not 100% perfect reaction time 24/7. Like, people make mistakes. That's what makes fighting games fun, is playing versus a really skilled opponent, and they mess up, and you capitalize on it via a good skill, and you win. Like, that is the rush fighting game. Not let me pile up every single 0 frame. Like, it's like playing against Seth in Street Fighter. Nobody
Well,
liked
that's
that
what PV
boss
is.
fight, right? It was stupid. Like everyone bitched about that. Like it's the same thing. Like there's nothing fun about it. Like if they want to make USTR fun, make it so that every 5 days all the bosses rotate. There's a leaderboard for it, so that the community is competing with each other and not just
no.
PvE.
Leaderboard in a gacha game is going to breed toxicity, bro.
But
they throw that in there, then
only
everyone's
way
going
to
to say
make
the
it
Spartans are
bro, I
whales.
just drink alcoholic beverages, and it's a lot of fun. That's all I do with USTR, and I have a blast with it. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I just go through it as quick as possible.
Everybody has an
So
opinion.
for me, if it's honestly, I'm with Prof there. If it's a hard fight like the Pro Power Frieza one, I think I would still also try to play different teams. So for example, I remember that was it Kuni, I think, that managed to do it without the Namegoku, that played it with Future Gohan, Bardock, and the Gogeta.
Yeah, but that's not fun. You just have to sit there and restart 80 times until you get good RNG on the enemy not
Yeah, but
having
I mean,
blue
there
cards
are
all the
people
time.
like you who don't enjoy it, and then there are people who do enjoy it, and they want
I
to just
have
kind of
yet to
figure
meet
out how
one
to
of-
beat the boss, and just kind of like a challenge for them. And I'm one of those people.
I mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
there's
I'm
people
one of
in
those people
Dokkan right
too,
now that do
but
that
just
stuff.
not
They go for the
Legends.
perfect run.
Legends does not have fun like PvE formula worked out. Like if you're talking about beating a hard boss in something like Diablo or Cyberpunk, and I got to juke and shoot, and this, yeah, that's great. But Legends is just like brain dead.
What they need to do in Legends is when you go to PvP, you should be able to get dual coins. It literally has dual in the name. Go ahead and drop that in PvP, please. But these limited resources, event resources, for what Nas is saying, I'm with him. In the current state of the game, PvE is not enjoyable, but I love Legends and I want to spend hours playing it. So I think that the biggest change they could make right now, the USTR and all that, is all the rewards that are attainable from it should be a generic shop with a currency that you exchange for these items, and that currency should also be attained from PvP. Then you could just PvP all day, max all current rewards by doing just PvP. It'd still be the same, multi-Z power in the shop that everybody else has access to, but if you have one universal currency that can only be farmed through this, then you could circumvent this stuff until they fix it. And I think that's the real patch I'm waiting for.
All right, I think that we can wrap it up here. That's it for the questions part, and that wraps up the podcast. In case you only tuned in late or you couldn't make it, it will premiere on YouTube tomorrow at 4 p.m. EST. We will also have it up on Spotify and all other podcast services as soon as possible. In the meantime, again, check out our link tree. I'll put the link in the chat right now. And please look at our Twitter. We have the fan-made Zenkai submissions open until Wednesday, 2 p.m. EST. So submit us your fan-made GT Zenkai units, and I can already see that we have quite a few. We already have 27 submissions. Don't forget to check out all our creators, Radical, Hydros, Nastarachi, Prof, and Ryuden. Give them a follow, check out their Twitters, and join their Discords or whatever else they have. We have 59gaming.com, so you can check out all our members and their socials and their bios. Yeah, I think that's it. Have a good rest of your day. Stay safe. We'll see you all in a week. Take care. Yeah, bye, everybody.